Now, welcome to another edition of News from Naboo with Thor's Lightning Takes. And let's get right to the news.
We're going to talk about Katie Sackhoff, Bo-Katan, Darksaber, Mando Season 3. There will be spoilers up to Episode 2 of the third season, so if you've not seen them, you might want to click away. Click on down to the next part of the news story, where I don't think there's going to be spoilers. Katie Sackhoff sat down with Deadline. They asked her some questions about the relationship she has with the Darksaber, why she's reluctant to take the sword from Din, which we saw at the end of Season 2. She did not want to take it from him. Even in the latest episode, she had the chance to just take it. He was defeated, it was on the ground, she wielded it like a champ, and then pretty much gave it back.
Yeah, that surprised me a little. I understand why she doesn't want to take it and have it handed off. She's done that before, led to tragedy. Sabine, of course, gave her the Darksaber in Rebels, and we know Night of a Thousand Tears and other things have happened since. Is this the moment where she's like, yeah, I just won the Darksaber. Thanks, Din. I'm out.
She really did win it, technically.
Well, was defeated
He
by
was defeated.
the
He was disarmed. It was
cyborgy
taken.
eye creature Grievous thing.
Yeah, the Transformer.
Yeah, whatever you want to call it. It has many names. Mm-hmm. And then she picked up the Darksaber and defeated the thing that defeated him, so...
I feel like in the rules that means she could have it.
It sounds like something that would be in the,
But I think she's coming to terms with things on a more personal level.
Yeah, the Mythosaur was the big thing in the episode. Seeing that was more important, I think, overall for her than defeating the cyborgy thing.
But one thing she says about why she was reluctant to take the sword, she said, "We have to go back to see why she's doing what she's doing. This is a person who has fought against her own people. She fought forever, and she realizes that doesn't work. You can't continue to fight amongst yourselves. I think with Din, I don't know if I'll go as far to say that she respects and trusts him, but she doesn't not. He's done nothing. If he didn't have the Darksaber, he's done nothing that would make him her enemy. I think that is her problem, is that she realizes that she's not going to fight her people anymore. She's not going to fight someone who she doesn't have a reason to fight. Every single possibility, every place that she's at right now, every decision she's done before didn't work. That's why she's trying to figure out."
It's a good point.
Yeah.
Every time we see her, she's fighting a different group of Mandalorians, it seems.
It's like she's hardwired now not to get along with Mandalorians because of her time in Death Watch, because of course, what happened when the Empire came and she was usurped by other Mandalorians.
Yeah.
Gar Saxon took her, position as leader of Mandalore, and she's back to fighting Mandalorians for Mandalore. Yep. That's got to be really hard to reconcile. And you're like, these are our people. We're supposed to lead them. They're supposed to be one group, but all she's ever done is watch Mandalore tear itself apart.
Yeah, she saw Pre Vizsla killed by Maul and then had to, fight Mandalorians to escape.
Even her father was killed in a Mandalorian civil war. I mean,
yeah.
All she
knows is Mandalorians killing each other, and that doesn't work.
Which is why Satine, I think, went to pacifism, because she was tired of it too.
Yeah, but I think just pure pacifism doesn't necessarily work.
Sometimes,
like it or not, you have to fight.
Yeah, I think she's struggling with a lot internally. She's always had this, I am the princess of Mandalore, I am important, I should be ruling these people.
Well, yeah, we see that in her attitude when she takes Din down to the living waters, right? I did this ceremony and the people all were like, oh, I'm so awesome. And, I don't believe any of this, but they did. So that's what we used to kind of control them. That's the vibe I got from that whole conversation.
She didn't respect the origins of the traditions she had.
Yeah, it didn't seem like the royal family did. They just knew that the people got into that.
Yes.
Expected it. And they, they kind of worship all of this. Worship's the wrong word. They have reverence for it, I guess would be better. And so they use that. That sounds like basically what she was saying.
Yeah. She also talked about the Night Owls and why they left her. She says that they abandoned as soon as she returned without the Darksaber. I think these are people who thought Bo would do anything to lead, that Bo would fight anyone to lead, and that's what she wanted, and that's why they were following her. And when they saw something in her that they didn't respect, they left. She lost her people, her home, she lost her family, she lost everything.
So they were expecting her to just kill Din and take it?
They expected her to do what must be done for Mandalore.
All right.
And if she and her sect view them as as deserters and as people who helped contribute to the fall of Mandalore, why wouldn't you fight them?
That's a good point.
Those people weren't there to fight for you, for Mandalore. They were hiding out on the moon of Concordia. They weren't there for Mandalore. Why should we be there for them? They are enemies, in a way.
That's a good point. I mean, I'm not saying I totally agree, but I see the perspective there. You're not gonna just kill him and take the Darksaber. You're gonna let him run off with it and do whatever.
Exactly. Someone who doesn't deserve it. Someone who shouldn't be leading. Someone they don't even know or respect.
Yeah, he's part of that cult that broke apart Mandalore, and you're not gonna do what you have to do.
And then they see her as weak because she didn't have the strength to do what must be done to actually retake Mandalore and put it back to its glory as they see it.
Fair enough.
Yeah, because they are not following the creed. They're not the way Mandalorians.
No. Yeah. The Waylorians.
The Waylorians. But what's interesting is the changes we've seen come over her. Probably especially since losing her people, especially in that last episode, that faith she seems to almost spark in her again. Even when Din goes as far as to respect her father's sacrifice when she probably is no longer seeing the point of these civil wars.
Yeah. That's a good, I love that actual moment where she actually was kind of touched by Din truly, admiring her father and respecting what he had done.
What's important, there's a line in the Book of Boba Fett, I know, weird, right? In Mandalorian Season 2.5, where the armorer tells Din there's an ancient prophecy of the Mythosaur's return, which would bring forth a new age of Mandalore.
But which is the destined one here? Din or Bo or both? I mean, we talked about that in a video the other day, and many people were like, what about just both of them? Could be. I feel like Disney really wants to ship them in some sense. I think the fans want to ship them. I don't know that Disney does.
I don't know if I'm ready to ship them myself.
Ooh.
I've done some math. They're between, minimally looking at it, 6 and 16 years apart in age.
Is that
not
a huge deal?
Deal breaker. No.
Okay.
No, it's not. It's not like they're young in that when you're young, that's a deal breaker.
16 years
Once
when you're
like in your late 20s and 30s,
Yeah.
that's not so much of a big deal if you connect personally. I feel like there's a respect forming between the two, but I don't.
You don't think it's like a romantic interest at all?
But then again, he hasn't had a romantic interest since season 1 for like one episode.
Yeah.
When that widow was like, hey,
you
Mando,
want to take that helmet off and come back to my place?
Stay here forever.
Yeah.
Yeah. Is it time that he has a love interest? I don't know.
Do we need the love interest in the show? I never felt like that. I mean, I like that episode, the 4th, where he's kind of tempted because you hear it in his voice when he's like, I'd really like to stay. I'd like that. But I don't know that the show needs a love interest.
I don't really think it does. I think what people want to see as a budding relationship of romantic interest, I think, is a respect and more of a working partnership.
Yeah, I mean, the internet loves to ship things, right? Even I have my Deja
you do.
ship, so even I get on board every now and then.
But I feel like with those two, it's more of a respect given, respect earned. But I want to know, is that Mythosaur, did it choose her? Was that the moment the Mythosaur was like, this is, when the Mythosaur rises, a new age will be hope will be heralded to Mandalore. Is this the fulfillment of the prophecy? There it is. There's the Mythosaur. We've seen the Mythosaur with our own eyes.
It's not extinct.
We know for sure Bo saw it. We don't know if Din did.
I don't think Din saw it. I think Din was, for whatever reason, unconscious already or something.
And we also know, and this is pretty much fact in my head, Bo is going to go and visit the armorer. We have one image of her and Din and Grogu standing together on a sandy beach that looks an awful familiar place from episode 1 with the Turtle Gator. Turtle Gator. So why not?
So what do you think is going to happen between them? You think they're going to
that could be the coolest thing ever, because technically Paz Vizsla should actually know her as well. That's Pre Vizsla's brother?
No, I thought it was nephew or something stupid.
They're in the same clan. We know that.
I think it's explained somewhere what they are, but I don't think the show has ever. I mean, he's only ever said, "I'm part of a noble family" or something.
Yeah, that's part of my
great ancestor built the dang Darksaber, so it should be mine, kind of deal.
Right. I want to see what happens when Paz, Bo-Katan, and Armorer all meet.
That's gonna be a fun little.
And what will the other Mandalorians who follow the way feel? Do they all hardcore believe that they can't go back? But if she shows up and says, "I can lead you home," I saw the Great Mythosaur. Mando's got the Darksaber. We're ready to take you back to Mandalore.
Did you take a picture of it? Did you bust out your cell phone or your smartphone?
Maybe it's recorded in her heads-up display.
It could be. Hey, why not?
I just think that there's something interesting that could be happening, and I want to see if it's going to go the way I think it should or will.
I'm not sure how it goes. That's why I had fun with the little debate, because I could see anything from Din, being the Mandalore, right, rising up, riding the Mythosaur around with Grogu on his back, and. Maybe sounds a little goofy with the Grogu thing there, but or I could see Bo-Katan being the one riding around on a Mythosaur, or maybe just Grogu himself.
I think with as much as she has learned, I think it's time she actually leads Mandalore. Not just more of a figurehead, I think she needs to lead them following something closer to the way,
Yeah.
the creed.
Instead of it being her birthright, now it needs to be her earned right.
Mm-hmm. I don't think Din's going to take up that role. I think he's got more adventures to go on, more galaxy to explore, and I don't want to see him chained to Mandalore.
Yeah, depends on what they do with it.
Yeah.
I just don't think that's what they're doing with him. I could be, like I said, I could be wrong. I'm just speculating here, but it seems like Bo-Katan is the one who is destined.
All right. Well, let's move on to our next article, because we went pretty long on that one, yeah. But I think it's a good discussion, and I want to hear what the comments have to say about it, honestly. All right, Star Wars Insider did an interview with Giancarlo Esposito,
Everybody's favorite villain.
our favorite Moff Gideon, who we haven't seen hide nor hair of yet this season, but we know he's in it, and we know it's going to be a crazy arc. I feel like it is.
I hope so.
He's going to be the force that's trying to stop them from taking over Mandalore because he wants to be a Mandalorian.
Something.
He's crazy.
Who's going to bust him out, though? We know he's like being the New Republic Tribunal and all that.
There's one image in a trailer, one of those little tiny trailers, of the first lieutenant. I can't remember her name.
Oh, I know the one you're talking about, yeah.
Yeah, of like her not in prison.
I don't think she has a
in
name.
I'm
sure she does.
She does. Yeah. Everyone has a name.
We don't hear it in the show, yeah.
And she's out and about, and I'm wondering if she's going to jailbreak him. I wonder if she even jailbreaks Pershing. I don't even know what's going on, you know? There's a lot of question marks.
Yeah. There's a whole lot it feels like the season needs to cover yet.
Mm-hmm. Well, we know Esposito's kind of made a career out of playing a bad guy because he's really good at it.
Yes, he is.
He was Gus in Breaking Bad and in Better Call Saul. He's Stan Edgar in The Boys. And so they asked him simply, does he just gravitate towards bad guy villain roles? He says, no, I look for a complete script. I look for characters who are inspiring and who move our imaginations from one place to another. It just so happens that I've been asked to play characters in certain projects that have been somewhat on the edge, a darker side, if you will.
Well, we saw him in Kaleidoscope, too. He's not necessarily a villain there.
I mean, kind of.
Yeah, I mean,
he's
not necessarily. He's more gray.
Great guy.
He's grayer there, yes.
He's still doing bad things.
I know, but you want to root for the... I always want to root for the guys with the... Well, you do and you don't at the same time. I know, he's just playing... Like I said, there's just something about him.
Characters are the best.
Yeah, absolutely.
When you can't figure out if someone who's a bad guy is actually good.
When you can see the bad guy's point every now and then, that's a good villain.
Because now you understand why they're the way they are.
I mean, there are other types of good villains too. You know, you can get a good mustache twirling, haha, I'm evil villain just to be evil. That can happen, but you do like a little complexity there.
Well, we do know Jon Favreau actually created Moff Gideon with Giancarlo in mind. Giancarlo says, it was hard to say no to Jon Favreau when he called me to tell me he'd written a role for me. It was a great honor. I knew it would be exciting, whether it'd been Star Wars or some other story that spurred my imagination. But the world of Star Wars is one that I've admired since I was younger, and I've wanted to see the films return to that mythological level of storytelling. That's something I think that the Star Wars franchise has done so very well. You know, I've loved working on The Mandalorian because it's about wonder and anticipation. When John asked if I had any requests for the character, I said, yeah, I want to have a cape like Darth Vader.
I'm in. That's all I need.
Wouldn't that be all you need?
Yeah. If I was a Star Wars character, I'd want a cape too.
He kind of went on to say what attracted him specifically to Gideon. He says, I always look for a story that exemplifies the journey of a hero. With Moff Gideon, I see it as being an anti-hero story. What lies beneath the words and actions of the journey the character is on, a journey that we all take. Whether a hero realizes it or not, it encompasses courage or truth. That energy inside us allows us to get where we want to go. I'm committed to playing this guy who thinks he is the master of the universe and that he can run it better than anyone else. Who's willing to push everyone's buttons. However, I attest that often the villain, the anti-hero, is really a fallen hero. They have the same qualities as the hero, but are characters who missed the mark, who wanted to be seen but didn't feel heard, and overcoming that is in its own way, a heroic journey. So he sees Moff Gideon as an anti-hero, someone who is very similar to Din in a lot of respects, but his character traits and stuff, he fell off the horse and he didn't follow through.
I could kind of see that. I don't know if I feel like he's I don't know. I'm not saying I disagree entirely. I just think, which isn't to say he's a bad character by any stretch. I just don't know that I feel like he's the anti-Din in the story.
He says he likes to think of himself on a journey with all humanity. He likes to create and play characters who made themselves. And that's what it's all about for him. Having fun, controlling the chaos, being passionate about his pursuits.
Well, he does it well.
He does. He is phenomenal.
No, he's one of my favorite actors today, for sure. I mean, he keeps popping up in things I really love, so that helps.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, if he says he takes roles that have compelling stories that really speak to him, and then of course he's going to keep making stuff that you love. He's cherry picking things that are good.
We should. I mean, all actors, I'm sure, try to do that. They don't necessarily know going in, though, how the end result will appear. But no, I've loved Moff Gideon. I think he's probably the best villain we've discussed before. Probably the best villain here in the Disney era.
I agree.
All right, well, that is going to be all we got for you this time. So now it's your turn to take to the comments below and tell us what you think of any and all of today's news. Do you ship Bo and Din? Do you think one of them are going to be the next Mandalore, or is it going to be Grogu? Whatever the case may be, leave those comments below. Let's talk some Star Wars, and until next time, thanks for watching.